All right, so we got a brand new box that just came out, and with the brand new box came Fire Fist. Now, the new Fire Fist monsters we are using is Fire Fist Dragon and Fire Fist Rhino. Now, the third Fire Fist monster we are using, unfortunately, did not come with the box. How do you obtain him? He is currently unavailable thanks to Konami. Honestly, a really scummy move, I think, to have a bunch of Fire Fist support and not re-release Gorilla when they re-released a bunch of other cards, but whatever. Moving on. So this is my Fire Fist deck. So there are two ways I feel like to approach deck building today in this current meta. Way number one, you pretend like fur hires do not exist and you just make sure your deck does well against a wide variety of decks. And then when you play against fur hires, you just pray and hope that luck is in your favor, because even if you build your deck towards fur hires, you might lose anyway. Now, way number two, you actually build your deck towards fur hires. So you build your deck towards fur hires, your deck becomes weaker against other decks, but your win rate increases a bit against fur hires, but then you know you could still get sacked by fur hires and lose, and all your efforts in deck building towards fur hires goes to waste. So way number one is what you see on the center of the screen, and way number two is what you see on the top right of the screen. So let's talk about way number one real quick. Way number one, first of all, we are playing Balance. Now, Balance requires you to play a minimum of 6 spells, 6 traps, and 6 monsters in order to guarantee 1 monster, 1 spell, and 1 trap in your opening hand. So let's start with the monsters. We got Fire Fist Dragon. Fire Fist Dragon, 1800 attack. Once per turn, if you activate a Fire Formation card, you could set a Fire Formation trap directly from your deck, and you also cannot use this during the damage step. That is very important, and I will get into that later. Also, once per turn, you could send 2 face-up Fire Formation cards you control to the graveyard to target a Fire Fist monster in the grave that is not Fire Fist Dragon and special summon that target. So one of the great things about this card is it is able to set Fire Formation Tensin. Fire Formation Tensin is a continuous trap. It continuously gives you 300 attack, but a temporary 700 on the turn you flip it up. You could use this in the damage step, and this is also the main card that you set with Dragon. Now, if you already have it with Dragon, a combo that you're going to want to do, and many of you will screw this up, you have to have your toggle set to on 100%, okay? Unless you have another card that could be activated outside of the damage step. If you have your toggle set to on, only then, with a single Tensin, will you be allowed to use it outside of the damage step, which is required in order to use Dragon's effect to set another Tensin from your deck. So they declare an attack, you want to have your toggle set to on, you activate Tensin then, or in the battle step, and then when it resolves, you will activate Dragon's effect to set another Tensin. Now remember, traps cannot activate the turn you set them, so it'll be usable next turn. Also, a cool little thing you could do for deck thinning and also that extra 300 attack boost or fuel for your Gorilla, Rhino, or Dragon is you could just activate a Tensin in your opponent's end phase to set a Tensin. So that's a pretty cool thing. It also works really well with Gyoku. You normal summon Dragon, they're probably not going to activate their Econ or anything like that. Then you activate your Gyoku. Your Gyoku will prevent your opponent from responding with that card that you target, and then you get to set a Tensin from your deck to the field using Dragon's effect. Now, monster number 2 is Fire Fist Rhino. This card is nasty when you pull it off. When it is attacked or when you attack with any of your Fire Fist monsters, you could send a face-up Fire Formation card you control to the grave and a Fire Fist monster from your hand to the graveyard to increase the attack of the monster attacking or being attacked in the damage calculation by the original attack of the monster you sent to the graveyard. This is a huge surprise. No one sees this coming. It allows you to boost much bigger than Dyna usually. I've also used it to swing over massive silent magicians. It is great when it works. Now, the third monster, we got Gorilla. Once per turn, if this destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you could set a Fire Formation spell directly from your deck. Now, important to note, Gorilla will set a spell and Dragon will set a trap. So, in addition to that, once per turn, you could send a face-up Fire Formation spell / trap you control to the graveyard, target a spell / trap on the field, and destroy that target. That is what makes this card amazing. It helps clear up your clogged back row, clears up up their back row, allows you to make plays. I love it. Gorilla's great, and unfortunately you can no longer obtain it until they decide to add it back into the game through the next box potentially. In addition to all these great new cards, we also have Horn of the Phantom Beast, an ultra rare from the latest set. Target a beast or beast warrior type monster you control. Equip this card to that target. It gains 800 attack. You could use this in the damage step. And if you guys don't understand when I say damage step, it means that if you use a card like Phantom Beast and Tensin in the damage step, that means your opponent cannot respond with a card like Enemy Controller. That's outside the window of them being able to respond with that if you use these cards correctly. Now, if you destroy a monster by battle while you have a Phantom Beast equipped to your monster, you draw a card. If you resolve this card successfully and your opponent does not follow up with OTKing you right then and there, I feel like you pretty much won the game. This is a massive win condition if you resolve it at least once. The card advantage you're going to gain from this is massive. And then to finish up the deck, we have Tensu and Enemy Controller. Tensu, during your main phase, it allows you to normal summon one monster in addition to your normal summon monster. So that's it for way number 1, where you kind of don't focus around Fur Hire, but you could still beat them if you kind of get lucky. Way number 2 in the top right, which will be in the entire video. The main difference between that deck and this deck is 2 cards. We got Chalice and we got Tenkin. Now, Chalice is being used over Canadia. Canadia is better, but Chalice is a spell card, which is required to make sure balance works. So Chalice, you want to use it on your opponent's Fur Hire monster on summon, so they can't activate their effect. Very good. Negate that. Now, the card you do not recognize is Tenkin. Activate only during main phase 1. Very important to note that. This is going to require some practice to use this correctly. Now, you target a beast warrior monster you control, and it becomes unaffected by all other effects for the rest of main phase 1. So what's great about this is when they activate Dampa effect to destroy your monster, you're usually going to only have one monster on the field. Tenkin will protect it from Dampa. So that is why this is in. And the great thing about this, which makes it pretty much almost better than Canadia and Chalice, is if they hate Trunade, which they are all playing right now. I don't know where you've been on the ladder, but Fur Hire is playing Hey Trunade. You flip up Tenkin, and then you are still protected from the Dampa play that turn. Also, when you activate Tenkin, you're going to want to flip up your Tensin with it if they hate Trunade. So you're going to have a big fat dragon on the field, usually being protected from Dampa. Very good. So that's it for my deck explanation. Hopefully you guys enjoy the footage. Here you go. All right, double set with a Dampa into a Dyna. Now remember, Dyna protects the smaller monster. We will not be able to attack with that. So right here we want to think, do we want to summon Dragon, play Gyoku, and then Gyoku will trigger Dragon's effect to set a Tensin from the deck? That's what we're thinking, if we want to potentially do that right here. That's the play I decided to go for. I summon my Dragon first, and I'm going to follow up with a Gyoku. Now, for some reason, he econs on my summon. I don't know why, but he does. So, you know what? I'll take it. I'm still going to Gyoku, the face down card. I will not be able to get Dragon's effect, but with Horn of the Phantom Beast and Enemy Controller, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Your turn. Not looking good for him at all. He has a top deck already. His face down's locked. I have a Horn of the Phantom Beast, which is not big enough for a beatdown Dyna. But after I econ it and I could start gaining advantage with Horn of the Phantom Beast, it's going to be over for the Fur Hire player. So, easy play. Put him in defense. And thankfully, he did not set his new card he drew. All right, we got another dragon, but I want to use my Fire Fist Gorilla. Fire Fist Gorilla, when destroying a monster by battle, I'm going to set another Gyoku from my deck onto the field. So that is something I definitely want to do, and I'm going to put Horn of the Phantom Beast onto my Gorilla, get that extra draw. Both effects will trigger right now. Now, the great thing about double Gyoku is, you know, obviously if he sets a new card, we're going to lock that down. But even if he doesn't, we could lock down that current card he has. With 2 Gyokus, we will have more versatility with sending our back row to the graveyard through effects like Rhino. All right, making a play with B into Dyna. Now, you know, in a way, it kind of looks bad for us because we can't immediately deal with the Dyna. The Dyna will be able to swing over whatever monster he wants. But because we have Rhino in our hand, we actually have an out to the Dyna. All right, no care, swings over. Swings over his gorilla, our gorilla. Draw into Horn of the Phantom Beast. Now, this is where we want to make some Rhino plays. Rhino, you send up a face-up fire formation. We want to double lock down that face down so we could safely send the other to the graveyard. And I choose to get Dragon's Effect instead of setting a Horn of the Phantom Beast. We don't really need the card advantage here. The extra 1,000 plus 300 to all our monsters, I feel, would be much more beneficial here. This is where we're going to use Rhino's Effect. We're going to swing in with Dragon, and then at damage calculation, you can't respond even with Chalice, is when you're going to want to do this. Send the Dragon to the hand, up to 3,700, swing over the Dyna, and 600 over the beat, leaving him at 300 life. All right, you know, I thought this game was over, but he's got Seal, and if he gets another monster, he could add Dyna back from the graveyard. Fur Hires are, you know, they're crazy. They're a top deck for a reason. But I'm feeling pretty good with our face down Tensin. Now, unfortunately, that is a Donpa. Donpa, this could be a very scary situation. When he summons Dyna, if he has a face down Treacherous Trap Hole, we could lose it all right here. After putting him to 300 life, he could still make a comeback by destroying Gyoku and Treacherous Trap Holing both our monsters. Fortunately for us, it is not a Treacherous, or at least I think it's not, based off the play he chooses to do here. All right, we have Dyna banishing our graveyard, which not a big deal, but it does turn off our option to use Dragon's Effect to special summon from the graveyard. He does view Rhino as a bigger threat than Dragon, deals with the Rhino. Now, remember, toggle on. This is the correct way to use it. If you do not have your toggle on, you're going to use this incorrectly. So notice how the toggle's on. It's being extra annoying, letting us know that he's in the battle phase. Now, attack declaration. I choose to use it right then and there. Otherwise, if you had your toggle on auto, it would only ask in the damage step, and I would not be getting Dragon's Effect right now to set a brand new Tensin from the deck. Swings right into the Dragon, and that's it. Game over. All right, draw. Check my graveyard. I'm quite upset that I couldn't, you know, make my Dragon play. Send 2 fire formations to the graveyard. Special summon the Rhino back in the field, or Gorilla. They all got banished. Finish them. All right, that's Fur Hires. Now we got a matchup against Masked Heroes here. Okay, so this is an obvious set mask change, and we're just hoping that one of his cards are enchainable, and then we Gyoku the mask change. That would be ideal. I normal summon the Dragon first, and you could see there's a big fat delay on summon, so obviously it is the mask change, and potentially something else. Gyoku always sniping down that middle card. No response. Here we go. Dragon Effect. Set Tensin from the deck to the field, and then we get to set our other Tensin. It's great. I love Dragon's Effect. I used him in the TCG quite a lot. A lot of fun. And this is either forcing the mass change or revealing that we pinned down the mass change. Unfortunately, we did not pin down the mass change. Here comes the Anki, but I'm feeling good about it. Tenzin onto Dragon is 2,900, so his Anki's got nothing on us. Now, he is playing Kaiba, and with Beatdown, we're going to have to use double Tenzin to get over it. Now, remember, he knows we have one Tenzin, but not the other, so he's feeling okay about this too. All right, regular Vian shenanigans. Send Vian, banish, search the polymerization. Now with our field right now, we could get our dragon up to 3,900. All right, malicious in the hand. And you know, this looks very scary. This would not look good for us at all. If I was him, I'd be feeling really good about this. He's gonna summon a malicious. He's got 3 monsters. All his monsters will be gaining 900 attack from a beatdown. Like, he's thinking this is it. This is it. You know, remember, his face down card is locked down. Damn. Anki up to 3,700 attack. Not big enough for a double Tenzin in the damage step. Now, it's okay to use it in the damage step here because there's no more room on the field to activate Dragon's effect to set another Tenzin. 3,900. Beautiful. Love it. Now, on my turn, I try to calculate if I have life here. That's right. I'm calculating if I could possibly deal lethal damage over the malicious. I believe after calculating, I don't have the calculator right now, but if you send the Tenzin to the graveyard using Rhino's effect, you lose the 300 boost, but you gain 1,800 by sending the dragon to your hand. And I think I calculated at 3,200 damage. So I was off by 600 per game. So I, decided to just summon, and I'm not going to use its effect. I'm going to save it. So if he top decks a mass change into an Anki, we are still sitting pretty. Dreamer in the graveyard. Not going to use our Rhino. So we're going to have Rhino swing over the dangerous. That's what I love about our fields right now. And our opponent is possibly not aware of this, that even if he draws into a mass change, it's not going to do much for him because we could boost our Rhino or Dragon to bigger than an Anki. Top decks of Vian, not really good for him at all, but he's setting up for a Celestial draw 2 next turn. Did not top a monster like I wanted. Now this is where I'm contemplating, do I just push? Do I press my advantage here? If I don't summon Dragon, then I will have Rhino's effect for a top decked mass change. You know, this play right here, it really is up in the air because I did turn off my Rhino, but you know what? He doesn't know that, even though he may not even know what Rhino does. I'm feeling confident that if he deals with my Rhino, that I will just re-special summon it onto the field with Dragon's effect and just set a new Tenzin with the Horn of the Phantom Beast, or possibly just draw into a Fire Fist anyway and just use my Rhino right then and there. All right, D-Drawn digging for that mass change. Can he deal with this field? This is a passive 25, 25, 2,400 field, massive field. And if he's reading Rhino, yeah, that's it, man. That's it. Fire Fists. Now, guys, it is really late here. I'm not going to be commentating the rest of the footage. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But the rest of the footage is going to be with the deck in the top right. So enjoy the footage, guys. I love you all. Thank you for the support. I'm out.
Duel.
Duel!
Duel! Duel! Duel!